All right. Hi, guys. This is day 3 of my 30-day challenge, Facebook Live, answering questions. And I wanted to answer a question from yesterday's video first, a quick response. So yesterday's video was about how do I install drip tape in my high tunnel, and you can find it by just going to our page and searching the videos. But Georgette asked, great explanation. I'm wondering if you have certain types of connections to recommend, like brass for certain reason connections, PVC and other sections. Will fertigation liquids affect certain plumbing fixtures? Of course, I'd love to use brass. I mean, brass is a great quality connector that lasts a long time. Very rugged. The problem is they're very expensive. If you go to like a 4 or 5 or 6 inch brass fitting, then up to hundreds of dollars for a gate valve or something. So for the larger size, we normally go with PVC just because of cost, but if we can afford it, definitely brass is the way to go. And we normally are looking at rain flow irrigation for most of our smaller fittings. Sometimes our big fittings will come from a local wholesale plumbing supply store. And so yeah, we go rain flow, barrier irrigation. There's a bunch of other ones out there you can use. But let's go ahead and jump on to today's question. So last night I was online looking around and found this question from Jason. And Jason says, anyone suck at laying plastic mulch straight? I don't even want to post a picture, it's so bad. My 3-point hitch has way too much play when I hit a rock. All my neighbors think I'm driving the tractor drunk. Most of the time I'm not. Never. It's worse because it's a co-housing community and they have fantastic views of my zigzag rows. They don't care, I'm sure, but I'm embarrassed. I dream of getting rid of plastic mulch altogether someday. So, absolutely. That's something. I've been laying plastic now for 16 years. And the first couple of years were rough. We were definitely figuring out how to lay it. And it's still, after about 6 or 7 years, we were still trying to figure it out. But I've laid some great plastic now and some pretty bad. So I'll show you some great plastic at the end. I'll get into some pictures and show you what we did. But the first thing is you've really got to tighten up your 3-point arms. You've got to lock those in if you're going to lay good straight plastic, especially if you hit a rock. There's a couple other things let's get into, so I'm just going to head over to the board here and let's get going. So the first thing to think about too is you really want to have 2 people when you're laying plastic. So if you're one person laying plastic, you drop the mulch layer, you start forward and you glance back over your shoulder to make sure you're going right, and that's when you start to wobble. So what we normally do is we have a person on the tractor and they're focused on driving the tractor. Then we have a person behind who helps get the plastic started and then also walks along with the plastic layer and yells out if they see something wrong. So if it's not covering or the plastic breaks or something happens. So that way the person in the tractor can always focus on doing a laser straight row right down the field. So the first thing to think about. The second one would be soil condition. So it's very important to have a really good quality, smooth, fine soil condition. So we did one year where we had rye and vetch stubble, which we tried to plow down and immediately rototill and put into plastic. Did not work. With that, you're going to have lumps, you're going to have plastic going up and down and holes underneath there where rodents, and when you put a seed or a transplant in, it's just going to go too far deep. And it just won't lay well. So the covering on the side won't do well. So it's really important to have good quality, a really nice tilth to that, and the proper moisture as well. So we find that when you've got, you don't want it too dry and you don't want it too wet. If it's too dry, it won't cover and it'll just fall away. If it's too wet, obviously it's just sloppy. So that's important as well. Another thing we find really important is the tractor size. So while you can lay plastic with a smaller tractor, the larger tractor has a heck of a lot more just hold on the ground and traction. So also 4-wheel drive is important. Let me demonstrate here. So let's say you've got this is your tractor here, and it's a 2-wheel drive tractor. Well, because 2-wheel drive tractors are notoriously bad on traction, they weight them differently, which normally have 70% of the weight in the back and 30% of the weight in the front. And so then you put your plastic layer here on the back. Let's say that's your plastic layer. And what ends up happening is as you pull more and more in that back, it starts to lift the tractor a little bit, so even less on the front. And then that just kind of, is up in the air kind of a bit, and it just skims back and forth. Even if you add some weight there, that's still an issue. So when you go to a 4-wheel drive tractor, now this usually changes to 60-40. And when we lay plastic, we put additional weight in the front And normally that's through just loading the bucket up with soil. So we're adding another 1,000 or pounds or so. So now that's probably usually like 50-50. And because you're equally weighted there, all 4 tires are equally driving and pulling that forward. And it's not going to skim back and forth. It's really just going to hold well and drive forward well. So that's important too for us to have a 4-wheel drive tractor and have the largest tractor you can easily fit in that field with that spacing that you're looking for. The other thing where I would like, the thing about that too is when you got to realize that some plastic layers can be 1,500 pounds, and then if you have a large layer, you can also be pulling about 1,000 or 1,500 pounds of soil as well. So now you're thinking about 3,000 pounds of soil you're pulling too. A small tractor can easily start to slide side to side and just not have the traction to really. You may feel like you've got traction, but there's enough slippage that's sliding a little bit. So you want to completely eliminate that, as large as tractor as possible. If you actually look in the Rainflow catalog, there's a great picture of a very large tractor with big, nice tires pulling a mulch layer, and that's what you're really going for. It's just getting a really big tractor that can really lay really good straight plastic. Another thing to think about too is the type of plastic layer. So there's a lot of good brands out there. I've seen Buckeye, you've got Kenco, you've got Nolts makes a couple. My personal favorite is Rainflow, and no, I'm not a salesman for them, but I've owned one of the 2600 models with the Auto Road Track, and that is just a dream. It lays incredibly good plastic. You've got to get it dialed in, and I would highly recommend, if you've never used one before, have someone that has. Hire someone even. It's worth $500 even to have someone set it up properly the first day, and then you won't have to worry about it again. It's incredibly. You can get one of those things dialed in, so you just drop it and drive and never have to worry about if it's covering too much, even if you're on a hill. Those things can be dialed in very nicely. Let's talk about another couple things here. Hydraulic top link. So one of the things I see is a lot of people, you have to get 3-point bottom hitches there, and then you got your top bar. Well, that top bar, if you don't have a hydraulic top link, if you have to adjust, you have to stop your tractor, get out, adjust it. And with a hydraulic top link, if you realize that, I'm dragging a little too much soil, or, I went through a dip in the field, you just press a button. Usually it's hooked to a hydraulic top with one of your valves, and you just pull a lever, and you can adjust that, feather the angle that you're in the soil. So what you're trying to do with this is when you're getting into the field, you want to kind of dive that plastic layer in. That's kind of to grab as much soil at the beginning and get your bed formed up. Then you want to feather it out and go flat through the entire field. And then at the end, you want to feather back up so that you don't leave a big pile of soil at the end. And I'll go ahead and show you a picture where I did. It's not pretty. If you're a really good operator, you can eliminate that pile at the end. I'm not there yet. I'll be first to admit that, but it's something I'm striving for. Let's also talk about side covering too. So when you're laying plastic, you usually are trying to go like this. You got a side of your bed, and then you got your top, and then you go down again like this. If you're laying a flat bed, you really can't do anything about soil creeping over, but if you've got the raised bed, there is a few things. So you can adjust your cover wheels, you can adjust your shields, and your goal is to have dirt about halfway up the side here. So this way it allows, if you're clean cultivating, that even if you take some of the soil and throw it up against, it's not popping on the top, which is causing your plants to get dirty. It's causing weeds to now germinate up there, and it can cause some disease and stuff. It also allows you to, if you're doing mulch, you can put some mulch in here. And we would use straw or hay. We definitely prefer straw, weed-free straw. That will basically allow you to have then, not anything on top and get the maximum solar gain there, the maximum growth area for your crop. Let's see. Anything else? I think that was everything. And, all right, again, if you have questions or comments, feel free to comment below. I'll try to answer them tomorrow's video. And let's go out there and keep farming. I know this is a season for you all to be really out there in the fields, but I hope this video has helped you get that plastic laid a little bit better. So. Pictures. I did want to show you those pictures. So let me see if I can do this here. All right, there you go. So this is one of the pictures of plastic, and you can see there that side right there. You can see how we're trying to keep that side a little bit open so we can cultivate. And this is bare fallow cultivated between. So this is with a Super C with some spiders and discs on the sides. This next picture is, these are 400-foot long rows. So, and this field too was a little too not ready to be put plastic in. You can see how right there, there's that divot there where it didn't quite fill, and you can see all the lumpiness in here. So that's definitely why you want to have that really well finished. And let's see what else here. So this is another field of plastic, brassicas. You can just see what that looks like. Again, two-wheel drive tractor, trying to add a little weight to the front. This is actually not laying plastic, but this is transplanting. And then here, so this is laying plastic. You can see the piles of dirt right here at the end. So this is because I didn't feather properly at the end. But you can see the four-wheel drive tractor, bucket on the front. Didn't fill it with soil here, probably should have. But this is the 2600 with the auto row track, which is just a dream to operate. So, all right. Hope that helped.